All right. Hey, book club. Let me put something in the chat. All right, guys, let me know as people start popping in if you can hear me okay. I'm on a different computer, and I think I tested everything out right, but such a Monday. So let me know. Give people some time to filter in. How's everyone doing? How is your rainy Monday, if it's rainy where you are? In True Book Club fashion, I have way too many drinks. So I have tea, water. So go ahead, grab all your beverages, your snacks, alcoholic or otherwise. Sound is good. All right, thanks, Jinky. That is so hot. Yes, wine. I wish I had wine. The rain stopped me from getting wine. I'm so excited to talk about this book. I feel a lot of pressure to announce book 2 because this book was so good. We can start with that while people filter in, because that's how we start every live chat. So let me know what your rating for this book is. I'm really excited to hear people's ratings. So far, with the first 2 books that we've read, our average rating as a group is like a 3.5. But I have a feeling this book is gonna boost that a little bit. I think this is lagging. Was this book YA? No, it's adult. What made you ask if it was YA though? 5 out of 5. I'll just say it was also 5 out of 5 for me. And I didn't realize at first, when I first finished it, I was like, I really enjoyed that book. I love it. Like I liked it a lot. And I was like, but what is it, a 5-star book? So I gave it originally like a 4 out of 5. And then as I was writing, I do notes for every book so I can get ready to talk about the book with you guys. And as I was writing the notes, I was like, I think this is a 5-star book. And the thing that really seals the deal for a 5-star for me is, would I reread this book like more than once? Like if I didn't have to do it for book club, if I just like, oh, I want a good book that I know is going to be good, would I pick this up again? And I would definitely reread this book like many times. So for me, that slid it into 5-star territory. Okay, lots of 4 out of 5s. It read like YA. I think I could see where you're coming from with that. I think I can't, and I still don't know in my head if her name is Amira or Emira, but she definitely read very young, especially compared to her counterparts, who we will get to. Four out of 5. Yeah, I've already I have 2 people waiting to borrow the book from me, and I have like 3 other people who are reading it this week because I'm like, you need to read this book. And everyone who I know who's read this book, I feel like are all putting it in that between a 4 and a 5-star. I can't believe this was the author's first novel. Like, that's crazy to me. I wonder if, because I personally didn't think it read like YA, but I see why people are saying that. But I wonder if that is one of the reasons why it skewed kind of young. Because, right, I feel like everyone is kind of given a rating. All right, where do you guys want to start? Because there's so many ways to approach this book. First, let me tell you why I almost didn't pick this as a book club book. I think that, this group has been really good about taking books and like we talk about them pretty thoughtfully and everyone has a really good span of thoughts, but I didn't want to pick a book at the top of the year that was going to be like the race book. And when this book was first being pitched, it was like this is like the Black Lives Matter book of 2020, and there was like all of this talk around it, pitching it as this like major race relations book. And I was like, I don't know if I want to go that route, but I feel like once people started actually, that's the thing with early reviews too. I feel like people early review books sometimes and like don't actually consider what the story is. So once the book was released like early in January, I was like, oh, this is not what people were making it seem. And I'm so glad. Yeah, exactly. Like that is a literal quote. This is a 2020, like a Black Lives Matter book for millennials or something like that. It's bizarre, but with everything that was going on with American Dirt, I was like, oh, we cannot do this. But I'm glad we did because it was more fun than anything. And I think that this is what I liked about this book the most is that I think it did a good job of talking about like racism and socioeconomic differences in a way that people can digest no matter where you fall on like the privilege spectrum, but also in a way that is not like a cop out to make people who do have those privileges feel more comfortable. I thought that was really well done. So those are like my overall big picture top down thoughts. I also thought the pacing of this book was really good. This is definitely the kind of book you could read in a day. And I think with the first few books that we've read, they had that middle book syndrome where it's like the middle of the book just seems to go on for like 50 pages too long. And books that are this length make me nervous because they either have that stuck in the middle issue or they end too quickly. And even with the way that this ends, it kind of like folds everything up really quickly just to put the book to bed. But I thought it worked for the way the story was told. So overall, very happy with this book. She was definitely, but was she immature or was she just like a realistic version of 25? That's something that I'm struggling with. Not struggling with, but because in so many books, it's like, so and so is a 20 something. She's living in a big city. She has her life together. She's a little bit of a mess in these very specific areas, but she's getting it together. And by the end of the book, she'll be light years beyond where she was. And in this book, it was like she graduated college. She didn't really know what she wanted to do. She's kind of just like getting by. And even when she figures it out, she doesn't like figure it out in the way that it wasn't like the Devil Wears Prada package where it's like she went from I make $28,000 a year to now I make $90,000 a year and I'm on my way to be the big boss. It was like now I make a livable wage where I can realistically pay my rent. I can have health benefits. Like I thought it was just like a very realistic of this is your early 20s. Definitely a little bit I could see still like some of the immaturities that she had, but she's 25. Like it's kind of immature age. It's such a fun age. It did end too quickly. I could see that. I like the ending. Yeah, that's the whole thing. It's like she spent all this time in the book, like, oh, I just wish I had a thing I was good at. Like, so and so is a nurse, and this friend does this friend's just rich. And I'm like, you're clearly a really good nanny. So go nanny. It was funny. I think Amira as a character, I really did think she was a fun character. If the book was going to be longer, what I would have wanted more of are just like those glimpses into her day-to-day life, especially because the book is set in Philly and I live in Philly. So I thought that was a lot of fun. Like listening to her go to places that I've gone to and like ride the trains that I ride. So that would have been fun to get more into her like 25-year-old struggle life. Because I feel like we got a lot more of Alex's life. Not that that was a bad thing, but it would have been nice to get more of Amira's life. Do we know how we're pronouncing her name? Are we saying Amira? There was one part where she said that sometimes Kelly would text her like pictures of mirrors and be like, it's Amira. So I'm going with Amira. 25 for me was different. 25 was definitely different for me. I definitely had health insurance at 25 that my parents didn't pay for. So yeah. But Exactly, that is the thing. I think that this book did a good job of reframing that as the norm because I feel like there are a lot more Amiras than there are Ambers, you know? I also didn't understand, like, in all the times that she thought she was doing so bad, I'm like, girl, go home. Like, it didn't seem like she had a bad home life. Like, she talks about her family pretty positively. They're just like, they're simple, they get by, this is what we do. Yeah. And even like the juxtaposition of her friend group, like we had Zara, who was like, I guess a little bit more together, and that she had her like professional life more figured out than Amira did. But Zara was also like kind of a hot mess. They're all hooking up with terrible men, which was very relatable. They all like which one? I got the two other friends mixed up a lot, but the ones that are roommates and the girl's like boyfriend basically doesn't even like her, like. That's super relatable, and it was like it's like a realistic version of what Sex in the City would have been like if they were telling the truth. Like it would have been a friend that's struggling and is about to get evicted, like a friend that's doing okay but still makes terrible choices, a friend who's doing really well because like they were really like a more racially diverse Sex in the City that's more realistically based. I want to do a whole video on why Sex in the City was a lie. I would have gone home immediately. I would have gone home when I was like living in an apartment where it's like we don't have any furniture. I barely have food. Like if I could go home, I definitely would have gone home. I wish Amira was better at standing up for herself. I do too, which I think is a really good segue into talking about Kelly. The scene where they're at the restaurant, they're like eating at that Mexican restaurant, and he just smooth slides that N-word in there. Like, I think I threw the book. I was like, I can't believe she's not gonna say anything. Like, yeah, she let everything go. There were several times when he was clearly making her feel uncomfortable, but that was the time where I was like, girl. First, I thought in the scene where they have like their first date, like they meet on the train, then he meets up with her later, and then they sleep together that same night. I did not expect her to sleep with him. And also, this may be just me, and maybe it's just like my own bias and things hoped for. But in the scene where they're at the grocery store, I legit thought Kelly was black. Like in my mind, I was not picturing a white man until they slept together. I listened to the audiobook and had to pause it. I could not imagine listening to this audiobook and a narrator telling me that this white man just said the N-word. That would have smooth took me out. For the D. D must have been supreme because to be like a Klan member, I need someone else to tell me that they also thought Kelly was black. Corey, does that mean you also thought Kelly was black? Because I just feel like I think this is also like the way that grocery store scene was laid out. All the white people were against her until the husband got there. So in my mind, I was like, the only person that's recording this that would be like her advocate is definitely not going to be a white man. Lo and behold, yes, he was very fine, very black. Like I had a very specific black man in mind when I envisioned him in the grocery store and on the train. Like the whole train scene, I was like, he has to be black. Yes, black man helper. Yes, exactly. I guess we need to go back and talk about the grocery store scene too. Because that whole thing, that was an interesting catalyst. It's so interesting. Like, yeah, he was smooth for a white guy. He was. Okay, I'm glad. Okay, yeah, I'm not crazy. Yes, the train solidified. I was like, well, maybe he's like in my mind, at first he was a very specific, like brown skinned black man. But then on the train, I was like, but I feel like they're like signaling not blackness. So I was like, so maybe he's mixed. But no, Kelly is a white man that says the N-word. Crazy. Yeah, so the grocery store scene. So I thought it was interesting because that could have been a really easy setup to just like make the whole book like one big racist saga. But this very small piece of that grocery store scene that carries us through, like that video, was so well done. Like that, I feel like that alone would have been hard for a lot of first time authors to do. So the way that she pulled that off, crazy. I still have so many questions. Like, first of all, you call your babysitter because someone has thrown either an egg or a rock. Oh, that was probably me doing something wrong on Facebook. Sorry, Julie. Hi. But someone's either thrown a rock or an egg at your window and you need to get your toddler out of the house to deal with that. Okay. Weird, but okay. So you call your babysitter. Your babysitter comes and she looks like she's going to the club and you are at your house. Why would you not say, hey, would you want a sweatshirt? Do you want to change? Do you guys want to go? The way they describe this house throughout the book, it's clearly a very large house. There was nowhere else in the house that they could have gone. Like, I just think it's weird that it's like the middle of the night and you as a mom are like, oh yes, definitely take her outside. And it was around like Halloween, I think this happens. Like it made no, that was dumb. I just could not fathom like any mom being like, oh, while there's all this chaos at the house, let me take my like scantily clad babysitter and send her to the grocery store with my child, my like very young, very precocious child. She definitely, she hated her daughter. That's, you're not wrong. Yeah, exactly. I think that's why a lot of people were quoting this as like 2020's Black Lives Matter book because they act like the grocery store is the entire focal point of the novel based on the synopsis. Alex is the worst. Like there were so many times where I wanted to like her and you just can't. She definitely it wouldn't have been as blatant the way that she did not like guard the baby. What's the baby's name? Briar. But she loves Catherine. Like the younger one, she loves Catherine. Like the fact that you have a babysitter and you only have the baby watching one baby, I think is very telling. I think Amira not wanting to share the video, I think it's unrelatable because I think if I were in the same situation, I would want the video to be shared. But I also think she was in a situation where she didn't know like anything that she's doing with her life. So anything that was out of the ordinary probably felt like a risk. Like, well, what if eventually I figure out what job I want to apply for and this is the video that's floating around? So I got where she was coming from, but yeah, I would have reacted differently. I don't know if I would have slept with the white man that took the video, but I'm not her. Yeah. That was weird too, that she wasn't on social media. The only millennials I know that aren't on social media are men who cheat. So, but that's just me. I love how everyone's like, she hated Briar. All right, should we talk about wait, I guess let's finish Kelly. Overall, do you think Kelly is a bad person? I'm gonna hold my thought until you guys have time to chime in. And for everyone who also thought Kelly was Black, did your judgment of his character change once you realized that he was white? Because mine did. Yes, not a bad person, but I don't like him. That sums it up. Okay, but what about the fetishizing of Black people thing? Like, what about the high school scandal, and then even the way he treats Amira? Like, what's our take on that? He is definitely annoying. Yes, Kelly did not realize that he and Alex are literally the same person. That's spot on. I feel like if I was like in a room with Kelly, Amira, and Alex, Amira is the only one that I would be able to tolerate because she would mind her business and the other two would not. I don't even think Kelly was good intentioned, to be honest. I think that it's kind of like Corey said, he's so clouded by his perception of truth, which is not necessarily truth, that he can't even tell. Like his intentions are skewed by default. He's completely delusional. He is. All right, should we move on to Alex? Alex is a lot. She's definitely like the worst kind of white woman. Literally, the whole book is Amira going, "Can you please leave me alone?" And everyone's like, "No, I refuse to leave you alone." First, okay, so the publisher like originally sent me like a press release that had the synopsis, and when they sent like the older versions, the way that they talk about Alex in the synopsis is like a lot more of a big deal about how she's like this big woman empowerment person. And so I was surprised to see how like little she really has her stuff together in the book, like from her business perspective. Like she has these letters, she has a book that she's not writing despite the fact that she goes out to write every day. Her marriage, hot mess. Her kids, hot mess. Like she has these delusions about like what her life means now that she doesn't live in New York. And it doesn't even sound like she was like living it up in New York because I don't know. It's just like she has a lot not going for her. Kelly was definitely a white savior. So was Alex, 100%. Alex's friends, I did not like that at the end of all of this, when they're doing that news segment, that Alex calls on her new black friend in Philly to help her ruin Amira's life. Her friends were like, her friends were like an exact juxtaposition to Amira's friend group. Tamra, psh. Even like when the whole Thanksgiving dinner scene, the way they like all swarm Amira, trash friends. Yeah, and Tamara's the one that also comes the day of the new shoot, right? I'm Zara's biggest friend, Team Zara. I didn't understand why when Amira decided like I need to get a new job, like she finds out the truth about the video, why she needed Zara to make a scene like that. And I didn't think that scene was well written because I was like, what is going on? So y'all are leaving? Or it could have just like, even if you wanted to do something on TV, it just, I don't know. This is me judging Amira for not having her life together enough to make a scene right though. So that's wrong with me. It was also weird. Yeah, the fixation on the high school stuff because they made it clear that she was in like her mid 30s. So high school was decades ago. Like yeah, there are things that happened to me in high school and middle school that I'm not mad about it. Like and I wouldn't be that mad. I would be more weirded out at that I had a babysitter. If my babysitter was sleeping with my high school boyfriend, I would be like, that's weird, but I also just would not talk to her about it. Tamara's excuse is straight up like all our skin folk are not our kinfolk. That's Tamara's issue. Weren't her kids' names like super like French and pretentious too? She was trying too hard. Yes, when Tamara was asking about her hair, I could see you with a nice natural look. I was like, oh, you are my least favorite kind of black. Hate you. But yeah, the make a scene was not well done. And I feel like if you think the book was rushed, that scene would make me think that the ending was rushed because it was just like Prudence. Yes. What young black girl do you know named Prudence? No. Zara was 100% ride or die. But my whole thing was, if you were able to help your friend negotiate like that drastic, because even though she was still making literally below the poverty salary, like when she was like, we can get you to 28,000, I was like, girl, you're gonna die in Philly on $28,000. But if you had all this know-how to help your friend like negotiate her salary, why didn't y'all do that like a year ago? You like all of her friends have jobs. And at first I was like, oh, maybe they just like, she just doesn't know what she wants. She's not interested in asking them for help. You clearly could call on your homegirl to be like, hey, I'm about to get kicked off my health insurance. Can you help me figure out how to finesse this? And she's like, oh yeah, girl, tell her this, that, and that. Tell her this, ask her for that. All right, great. You could have done that years ago. Insane. And then her friend had the nerve to be like, well, just remember, we're going to Mexico for my birthday. Amira's not going anywhere. She can barely afford an Uber home. It was brushed over really fast. And I think that that is something that so many like people in their 20s can relate to. Like there's always, like if you have a friend group, I feel like there's always that one person in the friend group who like is fine. Like if you tell them about the trip at enough time, they'll go on the trip. They have money, but like not mad money. There's one person who does like super well, can afford to buy the bottles. Like what was the one girl's name? Josefa, like her, everything's on me. And then there's another one that's like struck. Like that is a normal millennial 20-something friend dynamic. And that would have been, I think if the book would have been longer and we got more slices of life, we would have seen more of like how that dynamic works, because I feel like they were going out all the time. And I was like, I'm surprised Amira even has money for the train. Like when she said like she gets paid, Alex gives her like her cash, like all of her money in an envelope. And she was like, and tomorrow all that envelope will be gone because I'm paying rent. I'm like, how are you eating? Are you on foods? Like what? How are you alive, Amira? Especially if you're the only one and your one friend like clearly has it, her parents are giving her money. I would have been in that 2-bedroom apartment living like, okay, I'll give you $100 every now and then, but you guys know I'm poor. And clearly ends, and I'm gonna die. I'm living in like a roach apartment. She was not resourceful. She's the kind of person that was like waiting for the answer to come to her. She was not gonna go look for the answer. She's definitely not paying her temple loans. Those are definitely in default. And I also felt like, and this could also again be like my bias, but if there is this older, well-to-do white man who I'm now exclusively dating and sleeping with, there's no way that I'm going to be struggling like that. There's no way. What's the point of being in your 20s and having an older boyfriend if you're struggling as if you're dating someone in your 20s? Like, come up or come off. Why is my chat out of order? There we go. Wait, I feel like as a young Black woman, when she described just what the apartment looked like, the only symbol of whiteness in that apartment was the map of Allentown. He had like the Isley brothers on vinyl. Run, sis. She was too broke to be that prideful. But like, why? At your brokest, isn't that when you're your most like, you go into survival mode? Like, I gotta eat. So if she was like not scamming him, but like if he was taking care of her and then he slid the N-word in there and she didn't say anything, I'd be like, you know what? He is at least paying your rent. So I understand why you need to keep quiet. He's not doing anything. You don't even like him like that. Very fake woke. He probably had like a couple of Ta-Nehisi Coates books on the coffee table. And it's like, once you realize that he was white and they explain his apartment, you could totally understand the type of white that he was. We've all experienced this person before. It was 100% about his brother. It was a story about how his brother had called like one of the neighbor friends the N-word and like had said it at the dinner table. which that story is also very telling. That was the catalyst that made him realize, like, from now on, I only love Black people. I'm breaking up with Alex tomorrow. His was the opposite. His family didn't like them enough, and he felt like it was his job to like undo generations of racism. Yes, he did say that. Like, sir, what middle-aged Black woman do you even know? Men, men. I also thought it was weird how he was always so willing to like show up where her friends were and like hang out with them. Like, sir, you're 35. Why are you here? We shouldn't go to the same establishments anymore. Men are the epitome of exhausting. So sleepy. Wait, what did she say his apartment smelled like? I don't remember that. I also can't remember Alex's husband's name. He did laundry with no detergent? What does that mean? Hot ass sweat. That sounds like how most men do laundry, honestly. There's a big difference between laundry with no detergent, though, and detergent that has no scent. Peter, thank you. Do we have any thoughts about Peter? He was pretty insignificant, other than the fact that he has an insufferable wife. What about that thing that happens when he's on camera at work? I also felt like this was low key supposed to be a jab at what's his name? What's the white anchor that's really problematic on Fox? The one that does that show with Alex Holly. Mike Jarrett, is that his name? The one that always says, like, I'm sure he's said the N-word a bunch of times. But I felt like this was low key supposed to be like a dig at him because he's such like a thing in Philly. Yes, everyone hates Mike Jarrett. He did he have like, wasn't there something during Women's History Month last year where he was like, they want equality, like for what? He's weird. But I felt like Peter's like gaffe, like his fake racist gaffe was supposed to be that. But yeah, also problematic. We didn't get any of him. That was probably the first time a book has like had this high-powered married couple and the man is totally insignificant. Like, I also felt like Philly is a big media market, but how much are you guys making that you're able to afford this very lavish lifestyle? Like, you're paying Amira, she was at least getting like under the table probably like $25,000 a year. You live in a huge house in Rittenhouse that you own. Yeah, it just seemed like they had a very not financially stressful life when how much was she really earning? She wasn't writing. Peter made a mistake and like felt bad and he didn't mean for it to be what it was and he kind of like let it be. Whereas Alex felt like she needed to ruin Amira's life to prove that she wasn't racist. Totally. He did at least care. I mean, he showed up when she called him. There's the one scene where I think this is like either this is right before they are getting ready to release the video when there's like that random sex scene with Peter and Alex like in the laundry room. And I was like, she's so annoying. I can't believe that you guys are even that close. Alex is the epitome of doing too much. Like the epitome of doing too much. Wait, my favorite, I think one of my favorite like arguments where Alex and Kelly are going back and forth about like basically who's more racist when she corners him or like pulls him out of work and they're at that coffee shop and they're talking about the uniform and he's comparing like the polo shirt that Amira wears when she's watching Briar to the uniform that her old housekeeper would wear. And I'm like, one, what is the problem with her housekeeper wearing a uniform? Two, what is the problem with Amira wearing a uniform? And also, like, do you guys realize you're over here fighting over who treats this black girl worse? Like, that was pure comedy. And that was definitely something that I could see happening in real life. If this book does not get optioned into like, this would be a great TV show. Yes, Alex was turned on by Kelly as soon as he walked in her house on Thanksgiving Day. It was so funny to me. Like I was cracking up reading that scene. She's definitely psychotic. And the crazy part is it's like if she's trying to atone for this Robbie thing in high school, realistically, she didn't do anything wrong. Did she did you need to call the cops? That was a little obsessive. There, especially when there was an adult in the house, you could have just asked your housekeeper, like, they're not supposed to be here. Can you help me get these kids out? Call someone's parents. Like there were a lot of options. But I mean, like, as the person who admittedly was the tattletale and the snitch growing up, I would have got them at my house too. Oh wait, no, I forgot. No, she was wrong because that flashback at the end when she realizes the letter was in the locker, and yet all these years later she chooses to react that way. Wow, what an important small detail that I forgot. No, what an actual thing. Yeah, it's weird. Like the way the book was narrated, so we have this bird's eye view of everything. It was literally like we were watching a reality show. They were like that meme where the two Spider-Men are pointing at each other. Like, you're the more racist. No, you're the more racist. Right, exactly. Yeah, once she found the letter, like the fact that you found the letter, so you know now that he didn't leak your address and all that stuff. And the first time you see him, the first thing you tell him is that he fetishizes black people instead of like, oh my God, like I felt so embarrassed all these years later, but I know you didn't do that. Like too much like right, I guess. And the fact that she found the letter literally like what, like like the end of the school year. So it wasn't even like years later I returned to high school and buried in the crack of the locker was the letter. She could have pulled Kelly aside like at Thanksgiving, like, hey, I see you're with Amira. I never told you. Yeah, she could have wrote him a letter. She loves writing letters. And also that is so weird. Even like the lamest, most cringy part of high school me would not have like written this man a letter with like instructions on how to take my virginity. But also, I was a youth in the time of the text message, so maybe I'm being judgmental. She's definitely better at this letter writing thing than actual confrontation. When you realize that she left the baby in the house to go confront him, that was I totally forgot she left, and that was her favorite child. If it was Briar, she would have left Briar. She would have left Briar and like text Amira like, "Hey, I'm out of the house. If you could pop in and make sure Briar's alive, that would be great." But Catherine, you love Catherine. Her job was so weird, so weird. And I also thought, like at the beginning of the book, when they live in New York, she's really portrayed as like much more of this like boss character. Like when she's on stage at that panel and she starts like breastfeeding Briar, and she's like, "I'm a woman and I'm a mom and I'm a boss and I can do it all, nipples and all, blah 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 blah." That is not the same person who can barely like ask Amira what her favorite color is. The baby, literally the baby. Her parents died. Like she they moved, they get rich, they moved to Allentown, like the mansion. Her parents, I think she said that because they were in like a nursing home or something for a while, I think she said, and then they die and she just kind of like cremates them and moves on with her life as if nothing happened. She changes her name to Alex instead of Alex. But yeah, basically her parents got rich fast and they were tacky rich. At first, when they first like positioned her as she writes letters to get stuff for free, I was like, oh, is she like a super influencer? Like asking for free wine with no event. That was hilarious. She was like, "You like this wine? It's good, right? Got it for free. Didn't deserve it." Or when she tells Amira that she's writing a history book because she doesn't actually know what kind of book she's writing. And doesn't, which friend says it like, you don't really have to write the book. All you're doing is like picking letters and putting them together in the book. Like, so weird. She weighed 135, and then there was that one scene in the book. She's like, and here I am, 7 pounds away from post baby weight. I'm like, what are you talking about? I that would have been a great moment for Peter to come home and be like, what are you doing that you left our infant child at home to go confront your high school ex-boyfriend, you weirdo? Amira could barely afford water, has me dead. You know what's sad though, in the end, and I think it's just because I'm the kind of person where it's like, I just want peace. I was like, I hope this works out. I hope that like this they release this video and like Amir is able to position this to get great jobs and a little boost and like it's fine. I hope I didn't want Alex to get caught. But when Alex did get caught, I was like, she needed to get caught. But at first I didn't want it to happen. I wanted her to get away with it. The whole situation stressed me out. I was like, oh my God, are they gonna find out? And also, like, Zara really dropped the ball on going through Kelly's emails and then being like, we're leaving. He did it. Like, girl, how do you just lie? I feel like the way that they described Alex, though, she wasn't even doing it up for social media. Like, I feel like if you would have went on her Instagram, it would have been really corny. Like, Zara, that's a big lie. Like, yes, I confirmed, saw it. He leaked the video. We're leaving. First of all, Amira should have stayed there because she needed that free food and drink. It also is stressful every time Kelly and his friend show up at the bar because I just picture like a 2005 rap video, like this, like like a white man in like a sweatsuit walking in with his like very attractive black friends, one of which is Robbie. Yeah, it's like doesn't I mean, and she has like, do you have a smartphone, Amira? Like, you don't know how Gmail works? It was like, yeah, I don't think it's realistic that a 25-year-old girl just does not have like any kind of technical know-how. She was in her 20s and Alex was a married woman. Wait, you think Alex and Amira were equally confused about what? Like about technology? Alex understood technology. Alex understood how to like tap homegirl's phone, check what song she was listening to, get a good scan of who her texts were coming from, what her plans were. Wait, what did Amira have Kelly saved in her phone as that Alex would always reference? How did Amira graduate from Temple with no knowledge of TU Mail? She didn't understand you always have to sign out of TU Mail, or else the next person that sits at your computer will be signed in as you. She left her email open at the tech. She's probably been hacked several times. That's why she didn't know what she was doing. Keenan and Kel. I didn't get it, but yeah, Alex was all up in her phone. Alex knew more about technology than Amira did. Alex has an Instagram. Alex would be on Instagram ignoring her children while Amira was there, like feeding Briar. A terrible nickname. There's so much room. You're dating this like very fine, fake white, older white man. There's so much room for great nicknames there. Missed opportunity. Yeah, this is a fun book. Roland. Wow. There were so many things. I would have saved him in my phone as John B. I have been waiting for someone to bring up Sam Whiteout since 7 p.m. Kelly and Sam Whiteout are the same person. I believe that the author based this character on Sam Whiteout. About their life. Oh, yeah, they both were confused about their life, but Alex should have had much more of her life together. I would pay money to watch a book where, like, just a live stream of Sam reading this book and reacting to it and seeing himself for the first time. He too probably has told someone that he has the music taste of a middle-aged Black woman. Ha 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 ha. Mm-hmm. I feel like in the end, yeah, once I realized Kelly was white, that was the person I was envisioning the whole time, just like 10 years older. Not even 10, 8 years older, 6 years older. But yeah, at the end of the book, I thought it was funny how even though she had her life like drastically more together than like the shambles it was in the beginning, she still has this boss who's telling her like, figure out from your life. Like it's like Amira is not a self-starter. She's not self-motivated. She's not even motivated by the fact that she has like no money and like not the best life. That would motivate me. Like wanting a nice apartment would motivate me. You got to go on one vacation with your friends. You don't ever want to go on vacation again. Like that would probably motivate me. I feel like everyone is on Sam Whiteout's Instagram now. This is so funny. I'm still laughing that she left her email open at the tech. This was a good book for Philly and for Temple. There should have been more Temple in it. I'm trying to think if there are any big plot moments or characters that we missed. And seeing if I missed anything in the chat. I also could not relate to her lack of independence and motivation. It's definitely real. And it definitely makes her more relatable. She did graduate. I think she did she was either communications or Fox, like business. because she ends up like, I don't think her degree has anything is related in any way to how she ends up doing like the typing thing, but she did graduate. It's amazing to me that she graduated. Like to be that unmotivated, it's amazing that she has a bachelor's. But even like her friend group, it wasn't like her friend group was all unmotivated. So she didn't have to be motivated to, like I said, like figure out her entire life, make a whole plan, but she could have been motivated to like make $35,000. I just still couldn't believe when they were negotiating, like when the news crew was there, that when they negotiated her benefits and salary, they negotiated her up to $29,000. Like, embarrassing. The video did launch her life, but not even like, I guess if you compare that to the way like Alex's letters launched her life, like it's still so drastically different. Yeah, she was like a personal assistant to someone in government who eventually had to tell her, like, you can't be an assistant forever. Pick a dream and pursue it. And she doesn't even pick a dream in the end of the book. She's like, okay, I'll add that to my list. Things to do when I get home. Pick a dream. Not relatable, but also I'm sure it's relatable to someone else. You're not on Indeed. She's not on any job boards. Even when she was like trying to find a better job, I truly believe she was like going store to store, like who had a help wanted sign in the window and dropping off a resume. I would die if my boss was like, when are you going to figure out your real job? I would die. Yeah, so her first job, she was like a part-time like receptionist slash like, no, she was a transcriber for the Green Party. And then she babysat. And then in the end, she gets like basically better part-time with the Green Party. And she gets like fake health benefits and $29,000. Like, what is that paycheck like? That would just, I could not believe $29,000. That is an internship. She was like, no, I'm good. She was excited for that 29,000. You should be grateful for everything you get though. But that was crazy. Literally 200 a week. Was it a pay cut? Like, was she making, she would have been making more if she was their nanny. And is that 200 before taxes? Because she was not under the table. So the government's taking all their cut. $29,000. That is a stipend. That is not a salary. I feel like I feel like she could have got a full-time job at Target and worked 40 hours a week at minimum wage and made more than $29,000. And it wasn't like she was taking this job because it was a catalyst to her career. That is not going to get you a nice apartment in Philly. Like, you can find a nice apartment with a roommate and expect for you both to pay like between, I would say like $650 to $900 in a nice 2-bedroom. And she was in a 2-bedroom paying like $625, and it was a crappy apartment. So you can imagine she was not surviving. Oh, I wanted Briar to see her at the end too. I feel so bad for Briar. She has no allies. Her dad is definitely like not there, and her mom is dumb. So like 800 a month, like you literally have to live in the hood. Also, do we think the book was trying to like depict Briar to have like issues, like developmental issues? Because there was definitely no one, like if Briar hadn't hit her milestones, there's definitely no parent there that's like attentive enough to notice that with her. Wait, did she have 2 twin beds in one room? I didn't think it was that bad. I thought she had like a small like half bedroom. Briar is the victim in the whole book, period. But the thing is, even if she would have like intentionally leaked that video in a way to like launch her career, if Amira would have, Amira is not enough of a self-starter to take the leverage of launching that video and do something with it. Yeah, I don't think she had. They were trying to say she did. I think that they were trying to show just like how annoyed Alex was by her. She has great questions. I never pictured like what Alex or what Briar would look like. I think maybe in my head I was kind of picturing Kelly Ripa. That's true. She did pick up on that fast. That was so sad when Amir had to tell her it's not nice to have favorites, so your parents both love you. And it was a lie. They clearly love Catherine more. It's sad. Briar's probably a genius. And because her mom is insane, she's probably going to grow up to be like crazy and evil. Yes, that Briar is definitely Chloe. You're absolutely right. They're both wise beyond their years, too. I'm still upset that that girl's name is Prudence. Too small to talk. I also think it's weird. Like, it made no sense. Like, oh, I have to go write my book. So please watch the child that can pretty much entertain herself. And I will take the infant as she like screams and cries and is super demanding to go do my work. Make it make sense, Alex. I agree with everyone saying you didn't get closure at the ending with Briar and Amira too. When Briar got sick at Thanksgiving, I was like, Alex has there's no worse mom. And you're at a table full of parents. Like it was so sad. And also, it's my day off. I don't care if I'm your babysitter. You know how much I have to love your child to be cleaning up vomit on my day off on a holiday? Crazy. She could not stand Briar. She was like, I will pay you $28,000 a year for me to never talk to this child. I mean, Tamara definitely wasn't good. Everyone else I feel like was wasted. They're all wine drunk. She finished her 30 pages and that was about it. Did she get a book advance? Literally everyone was like, "Hey, Alex, your oldest child who you birthed is sick. You want to help her?" And she was like, "Ugh, Amira." So that's how they're living so cute. She got an advance. Well, you know what? If you don't write your book, you have to give your advance back. And I think she's not writing this book. That would have been nice to include at the end, like her publisher asking for her advance back because of the scandal with the news clip. She definitely wasn't going to struggle without it. I wonder what kind of inheritance she got. They didn't really mention that, but I'm assuming if both of her wealthy parents are dead, she got some money. Lainey were not even the worst. Dumb. Dumb. Like they were really out to ruin this girl's life under the guise of like, we're doing what's best for her. She really abandoned her children to go chase down her ex. I think she mentioned that they died with money. Like, they definitely wasted a lot of money, but they died with some money. It's also crazy how they had all that money and they didn't want to pay for her to go to NYU, but they had paid for like this lavish mansion in the middle of nowhere to be built. Like, priorities. Like, you can take out loans for college, but we're gonna have like, didn't she say that her parents wanted to like model their house after like a Trump house, like the Trump house in Home Alone or whatever, Trump Tower. All right, we've been talking for an hour. I could do this all night. Let's do like any last thoughts, final thoughts. I hope this author writes another book. I would definitely read another book by her. If you like this book, one of my favorite books of all time is The Mothers by Britt Bennett. And I feel like the vibes are similar. So you probably like that book too. That book is much more like character driven and it's not as fast, but similar vibes. And Britt Bennett has another book coming out in April that I'm really excited for. I feel like this is lagging. What's the next book? I'm between 3 books right now because I'm nervous to pick the next book. I don't know why I'm overthinking it, but I will tell you guys the next book by next week. By this time next week, you will know the next book. The Mothers is so good. Kiley Reid's hair is insane. Like, that should be the cover. Her hair is beautiful. I'm trying to like there was another book I want to recommend. Queenie, yes. I reading this and rereading The Mothers last year made me realize when I first read Queenie, I gave it 3.5 stars. It's more of like a 4 or 4.5 star. Queenie is great. Slow in the middle, great book. Queenie is a hot mess. Queenie was going through. You have to love her. Who do you think should play Amira in the movie? Ooh, I don't know. That's a good question. Who would play Amira? I think we've all agreed it's Sam White as Kelly. Kiki Palmer. Yes, that's it. And I could see like a Kristen Wiig as Alex because she would add just enough comedy to not make us hate her. Ryan Destiny, Chloe and Hallie, both of them. No, I could see Chloe and Hallie being like in the friend group. Like one of them is Zara, the other one is like Josefa, and what was the other girl's name? The other two definitely were like blurred in my mind. That would be good. I feel like because there's one part where Amira like writes home. I feel like Alfre Woodard should be Amira's mom. Someone needs to guide her. Kiki Palmer as Tamra. Oh my gosh, Jennifer Lewis as Lainey. Ashley Blaine Featherson. Who's that? Blake Lively as Alex, I stan. I love that. I feel like Keke Palmer could play anyone. I love Keke Palmer. I don't know what she would play, but I want Zendaya in there somewhere. This seems like her kind of story. She loves this stuff. No, definitely not for Amira. I feel like a lot of people are looking at the author, and because she's like a beautiful black woman and the character is a black woman, they're trying to make Amira Kiley Reid. And like, no. Amira is brown skinned. Like, no. Oh, what's the girl from Dear White People? Logan Browning. Is that her name? I'm really bad at actors and actresses, by the way. Kiki is more Zara because I see that. Do we have an Amira? I don't think we. I need to look up who this is. Who's Ashley Blaine Featherson? Oh, she just looks so together. She needs to be less together to play Amira. Oh yeah, she is in Dear White People. Never knew her name. Who is? Oh, I wish I was better at just knowing actresses. You guys are really good. I don't know. I want someone to play Amira who is like funny, but I could take seriously from American Horror Story to play who, like the white lady, the one that's like, oh, what is her name? She's really pretty. I think she has really pretty features. She's blonde. Yeah, I could never fan cast any books because I don't know any actors. um, cast. Sarah Paulson. Is that who you're talking about? Yes, Sarah Paulson. I literally had to Google American Horror Story cast. I'm so bad at this. Sarah Paulson as Alex. Yeah, she annoys me just enough on the show. Oh, Emma Roberts as Alex. I could see Emma Roberts like pulling up to that coffee shop and confronting Kelly. I feel like Sarah Paulson might be too good of an actress to do that in a way that made me laugh as much as the book did. This would be like, this has to get optioned. I would be shocked if nobody wants the rights to this. If I find out, I'll post it in the Facebook group because books get optioned all the time, and which is so weird to me. Like, there are so many books that get optioned and then just never made into anything. Like, all of your probably favorite books are probably optioned, and then no one writes the screenplay and it gets picked up by no one. But this will be so good on screen. This will be hilarious on screen. Lena Waithe did pick it up. That's good. Because Lena Waithe can pretty much sell anything these days. So, because this would be so good on screen. I don't know about Issa Rae for Amira. I feel like Amira is a less motivated version of Awkward Black Girl. January Jones. Oh, not Peggy. Betty. Betty from Mad Men. I could see that. Yes, Little Fires Everywhere is going to be great. I should really finish the book. Celeste Ng's books, fantastic. If you didn't read Everything I Never Told You, it's also really good. Very sad. There are a lot of really good books actually being made into series in 2020 and 2021. Like, a lot of my favorite fantasy series are being made into either Netflix, Hulu's, or feature films. Can't wait. I have to look up who I know who Chad Michael Murray is, but I also don't. That's so sad. Wow, yeah, that's definitely Kelly. Yeah. Yeah. Mm. Super fine and seemingly innocent. That's hilarious. I'm so bad with actors. One of my favorite movies of all time is Just Friends, and I forever have thought the act one of the actors in it is Keanu Reeves, and it's not Keanu Reeves. And I just learned this last year. It's really bad. What about Anna Faris as Alex? And who would play Peter? Someone who we don't care about. Travis Kelsey. The girls were talking about him a while. Is he in like a new movie? Oh, he's an athlete. Wow, yikes. He was in the Super Bowl. That's why you guys were talking about him. He's a Kelly. Yeah, he could definitely be Kelly. You guys know your people. Wait, Travis Kelsey's girl? Wait, I saw the video. I saw that video of them and they're all like hugged up on the field. Yes. Yeah. Was Travis Kelsey an Eagle? Is there another Kelsey? Am I confusing NFL players? Because that's very possible. Travis Kelsey girlfriend. They're brothers. Okay, I knew there was another. Yeah. Yikes. Definitely not a sports girl. That is exactly how I picture Kelly and Amira. Yeah. But who is the actress version of her? Kiki Palmer is close. Oh, who's like the young? I can't name a single movie she's in, but I can picture her face. She's in like all the good black movies. I did not know when the Super Bowl was until Super Bowl Sunday. Yes, Justine Skye, definitely. I don't know if she can act, but I would pay money for Ari Lennox to be in this film somehow. Lovey Simone. Maybe. Let's see. That's not who I'm thinking of, but she looks like she could definitely be in Amira. Who is the girl? Okay. She played on Gossip Girl. I'm literally Gossip Girl, Black Girl. Yikes. Yeah, wow, she came right up. She played Raina Thorpe on Gossip Girl. Her real name is not Raina. Tika Sumter. Wow. Oh my God. Yeah, you guys are so. If this was Jeopardy, we would win some money. Yeah. Tika Sumter would be great. I could definitely see her being an Amira. Wow. Yes. Is she still like okay? Vanessa Bernie Mac. What was her real name? Camille Winbush. Definitely could be Amira. Wow, she looks exactly the same. Like exactly the same. Go tweet her. Tika Sumpter as Tamra, but I don't want Tika Sumpter to be so awful of a character. I definitely would love like, oh no, not Jennifer Lewis even. Who is the actress from A Thin Line Between Love and Hate? Lynn Whitfield. I would love to see her as Lainey. Like older woman, but still looks young enough to play someone like in her 40s or 30s. Tamra is Rachel Dolezal. That's extreme. You're not allowing anyone else to do what? Besides Vanessa to be Amira? Rachel Dolezal has me legitimately dead. That's hilarious. Truly a national treasure. Her performance in A Thin Line Between Love and Hate, even when I watched that when I was way too young with my mother, changed me. But you can't hate Lynn Whitfield. It's against the rules. This is so funny. Ooh, you know who would be great to be one of Amira's friends? What's the actor? Cassie Steele, the actress that played Manny in Degrassi. I just miss her. Robin, wow. Yeah, that's it. That's it. That's the casting. Yeah. I could definitely hate her happily as well. Yeah. Wow. That's perfect. I mean, everybody hates Gail this week. You might as well make it Gail King. I could definitely see Robin as Tamra. Who was I about to look up? Who else? And just fan the fire. Gail is really going through. Y'all have her on IGTV for the first time, not knowing where to look. It's hard out here. Could we see like what is his real name? What's Dan Humphrey's real name? Now that he's on You and everyone thinks he's fine, could he be Kelly? And which Ryan? Penn Badgley, yeah. Which Ryan is Blake Lively's husband? Because I would not want him to be Kelly because he has the aesthetic, but I don't want to hate him. Yeah, he could be Kelly. He would have to bulk up a little bit, just a little, smidge. I see what you guys see, but I don't see it, if that makes sense. Ryan Reynolds, yeah, he can't. It's his aesthetic, but I want to protect him. He seems good. I don't know. Now that he's a serial killer, the girls seem to really go up for Dan Humphries. Wouldn't it be funny if like Blake Lively was Alex and Kelly was Penn Badgley, and now it's like, oh, the tables have turned. You spent 8 seasons chasing Serena. Penn Badgley, but like with a significant amount of facial hair, could do it. Not Dan, but Joe. I could see it. I also didn't watch You because I thought the show was so. I watched the first like 2 episodes of season 1. It was insufferable. The book, phenomenal. The show, I can't get with it. That's sad. Gossip Girl hits every I rewatch it way too often. I could also see what was Blair's real name from Gossip Girl? This is my whole life asking people, "What's her real name?" Blair Waldorf. Leighton Meester. I could see her being, Alex. But if you read the book, then you understand why you root for Joe in the book. I 100% did. Leighton also sounds like another name for one of Tamara's children. I love that you know this. This is great. People who know actors' real names save lives. Yeah, if you've watched You and you're like, meh, definitely read the book. The second book, not worth your time. First book, phenomenal. Yeah, in the book, it's scary how much you root for Joe, and the way that the book is written, it feels like he's stalking you. So he's like actively hurting you, and you're like, but like I want you to be okay. Tamara is truly the worst. Truly. You're killing it in book club tonight, Julie. So I'm glad you know all these actors because as you can see, I've had to Google literally everyone that we've mentioned, even people I've mentioned. It's sad. Definitely read You. You is good. It's a good thriller. And I like tore through it. And I usually read thrillers very slowly because I scare easily. Like I read last year the newest Ruth Ware book, The Turn of the Key, and I had to like stop reading like 8 times because I was so scared. And that's not even that scary. I wish I retained useful information. Me too. I know too many random things. I could not get it. And when I read the book firstly, I did not read that book and then picture Dan Humphreys as Joe. I could recommend so many sad books. I love a good sad book. I don't love thrillers. I just got sent a thriller by a publisher called The Tenant, but I haven't read it yet because I'm scared. But if I read it, I'll report back. Mysteries. I've been trying to finish the 7.5 lives of Evelyn Hardcastle. It's good. It's really good, but it's a lot of people, a lot of timelines, and it's hard to keep up with if you're not only reading that book. Erotic Stories for Punjabi Widows is such a good book. It is slow at the beginning, but it picks up. It's so good. I love romance. It's probably my fave. Which romance novels have you read and not liked? You should read Erotic Stories for Punjabi Widows too, Corey. It's not a romance, but it has a romance. But if you like just don't like love, then in general, romance probably would not be your bag. If you listen to the audiobook of Erotic Stories for Punjabi Widows, maybe not at work. Just a recommendation. Because title's true. Mysteries, romance, and fantasy. You know what fantasy series that no one talks about enough that I love so much? I mentioned it in the video I uploaded yesterday. It's the Ruin trilogy. It's such a good fantasy trilogy. It's young adult, but it's so good. And no one talks about it. So good. Great fantasy. I'm not big on mystery. Corey, did I ever make you read The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo? I feel like you would like that. Not a romance. I mean, you kind of are reading like a softcore porn, but like that's none of his business. I love that story so much. I've been trying to read City of Brass for 2 years. I don't have it. I kept trying to get it through Book of the Month, and it would be like, "Okay, we got 8 more copies," and you go to add it, it's like, "Oh, sold out." So, I have not read City of Brass yet, but I've heard great things. I haven't read Long Bright River, but it is on my list. Evelyn Hugo annoyed you? What annoyed you about it? You thought it was too convenient? Multiple husbands. I cannot. So, have you read a romance that has a love triangle? Because sometimes that's like my least favorite romance trope, but I feel like if you don't like the mushy stuff, those tend to be messy instead of mushy. Like you should read Playing with Matches by Hannah Orenstein. That one has a love triangle and like I do like the mushy, so I'm like, oh, I hate this. I want there to be more love. That ending caught me off guard too. It was fun. Fun book. Yeah, Evelyn Hugo is a very flawed character. She is intentionally very flawed. December. There's one day in December where like the girl sees the guy from the bus. That one is very mushy despite some love triangle in this. Yeah, I love that book. Yeah, maybe yeah, you hate romance. Let's don't do that. Daisy Jones and the Six I really liked. And everyone says the audiobook is way better than reading the physical book because it's told as if it's like a series of interviews and the audiobook is a full cast so you get different voices for everyone, which is should be the standard because I hate when an audiobook is like a female narrator trying to do a masculine voice. It's so dumb. Anything Christina Lauren writes, I will read. I haven't read any of their old stuff because I'm scared that it's like bad. But everything from like from the new covers on, I've read them all. I will read them all. Love Christina Lauren. Love Taylor Jenkins Reid. Will read anything that she writes. Ooh, The Perfect Mother. What's that other? There's this book that a lot of people are talking about on YouTube right now called Baby Teeth. It's getting very mixed reviews. Like people either give it 1 star or 5 stars, but it's like there's a child and she hates her mom, loves her dad, and then there's some kind of like creepy mystery thing. I know I could not read that. That would terrify me. I'm not good at thrillers. I bought like 3 that I want to read that I think are just going to be like baseline okay enough for me. I got Ruth Ware in a Dark Dark Wood. I got The Case of Mrs. Westaway, another Ruth Ware, and I got this book called 10 that I only got because it's YA and I feel like it won't be that scary. I feel like everyone at this point has heard about American Dirt. At least I hope so. Did you see that Oprah basically said like sorry, not sorry about it? Like, heard y'all are complaining, but like read it or don't. Oprah and Gayle are going through in 2020. Yeah, American Dirt is a mess. The way that like it's so interesting like being on like the blogger side because you get these packages and you get these like publishers will send out like these long lists of like upcoming titles and like their pitch is always like it's like this book meets this book, it's this meets this, and American Dirt was not pitched as what it is at all. And the way that the author has been like dishonest about like, oh, my husband is an immigrant. Like, yes, he immigrated from Ireland. Or I'm also Latina. It's like, no, you're not. You are of like Spanish descent, which is different. It's a wild ride. I've heard a lot of people recommend The Silent Patient. It sounds very scary. Hmm. What was that? I read The Couple Next Door. That's an interesting thriller. I really didn't like it though. I thought the ending was way too convenient. Okay, but like, is it so if it's not scary? It's not very scary or it's not scary. My threshold for fear is very low. Like I did not see Us. I did not see Get Out. It's wait, I can't. I ever since was it when Us came out and they used I Got Five on it in that scary remix. I have not listened to that song since and I never will. Terrified. And like if I'm gonna read a book about mental health, I don't want to be scared. I have never finished any movie that you recommended me, Corey, for that reason. Like my threshold for fear is like ridiculously low. I'm pretty sure when I was little, I was afraid of Space Jam. I was terrified of Anastasia. Scariest movie ever. To this day, I believe that's the scariest movie ever. Interesting. All right. I'll check it out of the library. Ooh, I'm writing that down. Speaking of summer, Space Jam was scary. Those aliens, I don't like the way they just popped up. They didn't state their intention. It was scary. I eventually did watch it, and I can watch it to this day. I cannot watch Anastasia. And I said what I said. I think I've recommended before in another book club live, but My Lovely Wife in the Psych Ward is such a good book. It's about a man and a woman, they're married, and then the wife learns that she has schizophrenia and like has psychotic episodes. It's so good. You know, a really controversial book that if you're into like heavier topics, two actually that are really good. The first is The Female of the Species. Definitely like major trigger warning for like violence and sexual assault, but also Asking for It. I read that book probably like 2 or 3 years ago. It's definitely controversial, but I think it's like a really realistic depiction of what happens to a specific type of woman after she's been raped. Really good. If you want like a really heavy, have to watch something funny after you read it book. And there's also, I'm going to try to find it real quick. There's a YouTube channel of this girl who does living with schizophrenia. And if you are like into those kinds of books, you'll probably be in to her videos. I don't even know what to search to find this. Yeah, the channel is called Living Well with Schizophrenia. Here's the channel. If you can't do heavy, then definitely don't do either of those books that I just mentioned. But The Female of the Species and Asking for It, very heavy. Both deal with like sexual assault and rape culture. Both very good. I'm like leaning over to my shelves, like, what else can I? Mm-hmm. There are so many books that I have not gotten a chance to read that I really want to read. I just need a week. I need a week where I don't have to do any work and I can just read. It's a little heavy, but it's also a mystery. I wrote that down. I'm gonna check it out. There's this the truly devious. Okay, I keep seeing that. It looks like something that I would like, but is that the one by no, I'm thinking of a different author. Because it's a trilogy, right? Truly Devious. Maureen Johnson. Yeah. I've seen a lot of people talk about it. I would probably check it out. I'd read it. Where is that? Oh, I must have moved it. I just got sent a couple of books that I'm going to talk about soon. If they were on my desk, I'd show you now. Sometimes, like I like a book that is just here to entertain me. Sometimes you just want to be entertained. And that's fine. Life is enough without every book being so serious. While we're talking about heavier books, the darkest, heaviest book I've ever read is The Bell Jar. Very heavy, by Sylvia Plath. Yeah, you read too many heavy books, Corey. Yeah, The Bell Jar, though, like it was hard to finish. And it's so short. It's not a long book, but it took me like 2 weeks to read it. I would not recommend reading that in one day because it's really hard to read. I also, yeah, pick The Bell Jar when you like have some time to process because it is a lot. Mm. Other like fun books, like it's still the beginning of the year. I feel like it's still time to read fun books. If you're looking for a really good fantasy series, you should read. It's not even fantasy. It's like technically sci-fi, but it's not sci-fi. The Vicious duology. I think there might be one other book coming out, maybe. But by V.E. Schwab. First of all, anything V.E. Schwab writes, she writes under V.E. Schwab and Victoria Schwab. All great. Like her middle grade and young adult is under Victoria. Her adult's under VE. So good. She has a book coming out this year called The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. And it's about a girl who sells her soul, a girl who no one can remember because she sells her to the it's I'm gonna read it. It's gonna be so good. Like she's been talking about this book for years and it just sounds so interesting. I can't wait. But I love V.E. Schwab. The Blazing World. I don't think I've heard of that. What's that about? Wow, you know it's bad because the whole book is like on Google for free. The book was originally written in 1666? Yikes. Duchess of Newcastle. Oh, it's like a utopian situation. Interesting. Doesn't sound like something I would read. Oh, different book, different book. Wow, super different. They had books. Yeah, girl, as long as there have been Bibles, there have been books. This sounds different. You know what sucks? I feel like all the bad books now are getting the best covers. They draw you in with these beautiful covers, and the book is just disappointing. Damn, they had books. I'm truly dead. I got sent a final copy of We Were Vikings, When We Were Vikings. Let's see. When We Were Vikings. Everyone is saying it's so good. I started it. I read like the first maybe 40-ish pages. If I finish the book I'm reading now tonight, I'll pick that back up next. But so far, it's really interesting, like really good. I'm trying to get a link to it, but my computer does not want to show up tonight. There we go. So this is what I'll be reading next. That's why they work so hard on covers. The cover is supposed to make you want to read it. Shakespeare and Company is the best at curating books so that the best covers are on display too. What book did I buy because of the cover and it was like the worst book of all time? There have been a couple. There have definitely been a couple. All right, I think I have like 3 more minutes in me. And we're gonna wrap up. I can't believe we've been on here for an hour and 42 minutes. I have not read The Diviners yet either, but I'm interested. So let me know what you think. If you guys are reading good books, please post like mini reviews in the Facebook group. I would love for that to become like our new Goodreads. Yeah, I've been on this like the first 15 pages of A Brief History of Seven Killings for 4 years. But the cover is beautiful and I refuse to get rid of it because it's such a pretty yellow book. I'm not determined to read that this year. But let me know if you finish it. I also hate when I buy a book and don't realize how thick it is, and then I'm stuck with the hardcover that I am never gonna take out of the house. Like, I bought the last, like, Toni Morrison collection. That book is heavy, so thick, and I'm not traveling with it, I'm not putting it in my bag. So heavy. Yeah, do a book swap. I need to swap some books. I have a bunch of books that I have in my to donate pile, but I will post a picture in the group and you guys can have first dibs. I have a lot of books. I have literally like 4 totes of books and I'm ready to move on. I really want to read The Goldfinch, especially now that it's a movie. I hate when books become movies and it just like moves up the deadline for when you have to read it. Annoying. You can have first dibs on the books, yes. The link to the Facebook, I will post that now. Oh, my computer is set up. I have 400 tabs open, that's why. Okay, Facebook link in the chat. Yeah, definitely join the Facebook group. Good stuff happening there. All right, guys, this has been fun. I will announce book 2 in the next couple of days. I've narrowed it down to 3 potential books, really 2 potential books. And I'm leaning towards one. So you'll know soon. I'm going to go eat something and clean my bathroom. Purple Rose. It's such a big book too, The Goldfinch. Way too big. Yeah, thanks for spending your Monday with me. This was the best part of my Monday, for sure. Also, I know some people have asked like why we don't have crew necks in this sweatshirt right now. It's because you guys bought a lot of them, and the supplier, it's not even like a matter of the printing, it's the actual this color sweatshirt. They have not been able to restock them because they sold very quickly. So there's going to be a new reading design coming out soon anyway that might make you feel better about not being able to get this one right now. So don't worry about it. But yes, thanks for a great night. I had so much fun. You guys are the best. Book 2 of 2020 coming soon. So check the group and check your email for that. And yeah, thanks for chatting. I'll see you guys later. Bye, friends.